Contrast launches every desire you've ever had. When someone treats you poorly, you immediately prefer kinder interactions. When you lose your way every time you step outside, rockets of desire fire off asking for clarity and better direction. When your paycheck doesn't reflect what you know you're worth, you're launching preferences for compensation that matches your value. When something unfolds in your world or your government that feels wrong, you're instantly asking for the way you'd rather see it. All those preferences exist, held in place for you, but they can't materialize in your experience until you consistently offer a vibration that matches them. You can't spend your days complaining about the absence of what you want and expect it to arrive. Somehow you have to close the vibrational gap between where you are and what you're asking for. We ask people what they want, and they tell us they want to be over there. We say, fine, describe what's over there. Why does it appeal to you? They respond by explaining how awful things are over here. We redirect them, let's talk about over there, and they agree, saying they really want to get over there. We ask again, what's over there? What will it be like when you arrive? They say it will be so much better than over here. We ask in what way, and immediately they launch into everything that's wrong with over here. Almost everyone is more practiced at describing what's here than imagining what's there. These words pour out of you automatically. You have clever dialogue you've refined over years. You have stories you've been telling so long they feel like part of your identity. You have jokes you've collected that reinforce the points you're trying to make. You want to make the point that things should be better for you, but every moment you spend making those points, you're holding yourself vibrationally apart from the better life that's already waiting for you in vibrational escrow. You can't keep telling those stories and expect things to change. You can't keep activating where you are and simultaneously move to a different place. That's why most people, maybe even you if you look honestly at your own experience, don't see much change. Different places, different faces, but the same patterns keep percolating along because most people offer most of their vibration in response to what they're observing. You observe what is, you offer a vibration about what is, the universe matches what is, then you observe what is again. You offer a vibration of what is, the universe matches what is, you observe what is. Round and round. You observe what is, vibrate what is, universe delivers what is, you get more of what is. You observe what is, complain about what you're getting, universe matches more of it. You're getting the picture. Something has to shift in your approach to the way you offer your vibration. You have to decide that you're going to offer your thoughts in response to how they feel, not in response to how habitual they are. Imagine eating something your mother cooked that you never liked, and now you've been out of her kitchen for years, but you still eat it every day. Someone asks if you like it. You say you can't stand it. They ask why you're eating it then. You say you've always eaten it, your mother encouraged it, so you just eat it. Your enlightened friend might ask why. If you don't like it, are you still consuming it? We're asking you the same question. These thoughts that feel so uncomfortable about physical decline, about inadequacy in yourself or someone else, these thoughts that make you feel terrible, why do you continue focusing on them and beating yourself up with them? Years ago, Jerry and Esther went to see a famous comedian, Victor Borge. At one point, someone in the audience began coughing. He called attention to it, and as he focused on this coughing person, another person coughed, then another, until within minutes the audience was coughing so much it nearly brought the presentation to a halt. Esther asked if he planted those people to cough. Jerry said no, they were real audience members who, by the power of suggestion, simply began coughing. The more attention focused on it, the more coughing happened. Power of suggestion activates vibration that calls forth things already present within you. If you've been thinking certain thoughts over time, and then someone else thinking the same thought comments on it, now you're both thinking it together, experiencing it together. This thought becomes more activated. The likelihood of this thought activating again increases beyond what it was before. These activated thoughts matter more than you realize. An activated thought simply means something you're giving your attention to, which becomes activated for the duration of your attention. The more often you activate a thought, the more easily it activates again, until it becomes a dominantly activated thought. A dominantly activated thought becomes a habitual thought, what you'd call a belief. People think beliefs are factual conclusions. You think something's true, so you focus on it, and as you focus on it, you activate it, and as you activate it, law of attraction brings it to you, and you say, "See, I knew it was true." Everything becomes truth when you give your attention to it long enough. You can't give attention to anything for very long without activating it enough that it manifests in your experience. Saying you're giving attention to something because it's true seems silly. That's like saying someone else focused on something they didn't want long enough that it manifested in their experience. And because it manifested in their experience by their attention to it, you should give your attention to it long enough that it activates and manifests in your experience too. We don't understand that reasoning. That's like saying because someone else did something you don't want to do, you should do it too. You don't mean that, yet that's what so many of you are doing because you're sloppy with your thoughts. You're lazy about thinking. You think the thoughts that are easiest, and the easiest thoughts to think are the thoughts that have already been most activated. The easiest thoughts to think are the thoughts that have already manifested and are surrounding you. If a comedian can make a room full of people begin coughing just by the power of suggestion in minutes, imagine what's happening to you as you listen to television playing in the background with hour after hour of commercials pointing out your fallibility, pointing out the decline of your physical body. They offer suggestions about things, and the government thinks they're doing you a favor by pointing out all the side effects of different offerings, but they've compounded the negative effect thousandfold. Now, not only is what's activated within you the slight symptom that makes you ask for this ingredient that might cure it, but you're also exposed to all the vibrational dialogue about all the possible side effects. One person in a city you don't know had such an effect, so now they feel they must point it out to you. It might make you blind, they say. Probably not, very small chance, but you hear that commercial a few thousand times and you're coughing in the audience. That's just how it works. Your negative emotion works the same way. It's your indication that you're not now in vibrational alignment with what you're wanting. As kids, did you play hot and cold, where somebody knew where you were supposed to go and gave you guidance as you moved closer or further from your destination? Your guidance system works identically. It's letting you know the vibrational relativity between where you say you want to be, what's waiting for you in vibrational escrow, and the thoughts you're activating right now which equal your point of attraction. If what we're exploring here resonates with you, if you're starting to see your own patterns in this, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel. We're creating a space where these teachings can land with people who are actually ready to apply them, and your subscription helps us reach more people who need this shift. Please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Now let's continue with how this really works. You will never move towards something you are vibrationally different from. Your vibrational escrow is full of things you've been thinking about. Some you want, some you don't want. You can tell by the way you feel whether you're moving towards something that's going to feel good when it arrives, or whether you're moving towards something that won't feel good when you get there. You wake up feeling ornery. You don't take time to think thoughts of appreciation. You just go with the flow of ornery. You were overwhelmed when you went to bed. You feel overwhelmed when you wake up. Then in that vibration, one of your kids does something that compounds the irritation. And before you know it, you're announcing to yourself, this is going to be another one of those days. Those kinds of days or moments are moving you toward a manifestation that when it arrives, you won't like it. When it arrives, you'll say, if you haven't been aware of your vibration, where did that come from? It just came out of the blue. We say no, never. You are moving incrementally toward it. Here's what's really worth noting. 99.99% of every creation is complete before you see physical evidence. You're filling your future full of all kinds of things, but you can tell by the way you feel which of those things you're moving toward will please you when you get there and which won't please you when you arrive. Our encouragement to you is to make a decision today. When you realize that what's unfolding in your vibrational future is shown to you by the way you feel, then you reach a place where you really want to say it matters how I feel. When you make that decision that it matters how you feel, you've activated your own personal guidance. You're never going to be lost again. You're never going to be disoriented again. We don't want you to fear your thoughts. You live in an environment with enormous latitude, on the brink of magnificent creation, on a platform based in well-being. Things going badly for you isn't even a 50-50 chance. It's almost a sure thing that things will go wonderful for you. Your legacy is one of well-being. It takes significant vibrational discord to go far from where you think you want to go. Here's what mixes you up about this. You see people create things like maybe a friend dies, and most of you who don't want to die, or don't want to die yet, you've accepted that you will, but you don't want to do it, not ever. As you see someone else create something you wouldn't want to create for yourself, you almost automatically assume they didn't want to create it either, and therefore it was a bad thing that happened to them. Therefore it must have been miscreating. You don't know the vibrational relationship between what anybody else wants and where anybody else is. When you try to factor in their opinions about this and that, you lose your place. That's why so many people have lost track of their journeys. This is why you have this thing called incurable disease. Somebody gives it that label, and the only reason they call it incurable is because they haven't seen a cure for it. Who are they? Who gets to decide the vibrational relationship between where you are and where you want to be? What anybody else has done with their vibrational relationship has nothing to do with you. The facts or evidence of what anybody else has created about anything has nothing to do with you. How did they convince you it has something to do with you? Early on, you must have stopped listening to your own guidance and started listening to guidance outside of you. The problem with that is they're not all that interested. They can't stay undividedly focused on you and the elements of your experience. You want them to. You expect them to. That's the reason so many of you resent your own parents. You asked the impossible of them. You wanted their undivided attention, and they couldn't begin to give you their undivided attention. No one can. But source energy gives you its undivided attention, and its undivided attention is a vibration of well-being. When you deviate from the undivided attention of source energy into a thought of unworthiness, into a thought of not enough, into a thought of inferiority or insecurity, those emotions that feel so awful to you are your evidence that you've deviated from the undivided thought of source energy. Source energy loves you no matter what you see. Source energy expects good things for you no matter what. When you focus other than that and beat the drum of something long enough that you activate a vibration within you where you don't let the well-being in that you want and deserve, then you vibrationally deviate from your source. But your source never forsakes you. Your source never lets go of you. Your source never stops focusing on you. Sometimes you just get out of range. The vibrational range you're operating in right now determines everything that's coming toward you. Not just the big things, the small things too. The way strangers respond to you in the grocery store. The way opportunities seem to appear or disappear. The way your body feels when you wake up in the morning. All of it reflects the dominant vibration you've been practicing. Most people think their vibration responds to their circumstances, but it's exactly backward. Your circumstances are responding to your vibration. You've been getting this backward your whole life, and that's why nothing seems to change even when you change your location or your job or your relationship. The pattern continues because you're still the same vibrational being, having the same vibrational habits, activating the same thoughts that feel terrible but feel familiar. Familiar feels safer than unfamiliar, even when familiar feels awful. You'd rather have predictable suffering than unpredictable possibility, because at least with predictable suffering you know what's coming. With possibility you don't know what's coming, and that uncertainty activates fear, and fear feels like warning. so you retreat back into the familiar patterns and call it being realistic. Being realistic just means being practiced at observing what is and describing what is and defending what is until what has become so solid in your vibration that nothing else can get in. You've built vibrational walls around your current experience and called it truth. You've looked at statistical evidence and medical diagnoses and financial reports and relationship histories and used all of it to justify why things are the way they are and why they probably won't change. Every piece of evidence you stack up is just another brick in the wall between you and what you're actually asking for. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you something. If this perspective is shifting something in you, if you're recognizing patterns you want to change, please subscribe to the channel. We're going deeper into this material in ways that can genuinely transform how you experience your life, but only if you stay connected to it. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming. All right, let's bring this home. Your guidance system is speaking to you constantly. Every emotion you feel is information about where you are vibrationally relative to what you're asking for. When you feel good, you're moving toward what you want. When you feel bad, you're moving away from what you want. It's that simple. You've been taught to ignore your emotions, to push through them, to be logical and rational and reasonable. You've been taught that emotions are weak or unreliable or something to overcome. That teaching has disconnected you from the most sophisticated guidance system in the universe. Your emotions aren't weaknesses to overcome. They're data to interpret. When you feel frustrated, you're thinking about what you don't want while what you do want is right there waiting for you. The frustration is the gap. When you feel hopeless, you're focused on the absence of what you want so intensely that you can't feel the presence of what you want even though it's already formed. The hopelessness is the gap. When you feel angry, you're noticing something you want to be different while simultaneously believing it can't be different. The anger is the gap. Every negative emotion you experience is just the vibrational distance between what you're focused on and what you're asking for. That's all it is. Nothing more complicated than that. You've made it complicated by adding stories and justifications and evidence and history. You've made it complicated by involving other people's opinions and cultural beliefs and family patterns. You've made it complicated by thinking you need to understand why you feel the way you feel before you can feel different. You don't need to understand why. You just need to notice that you feel bad and care enough about how you feel to reach for a thought that feels even slightly better. That's the whole practice. Notice you feel bad, reach for a thought that feels better. Notice you feel bad, reach for a thought that feels better. You don't have to jump from despair to joy. You just have to reach for the next better feeling thought. From despair to anger, from anger to frustration, from frustration to hope, from hope to belief, from belief to knowing. Each step is just a slightly better feeling thought. Each step closes the gap a little more. Each step brings you into closer vibrational alignment with what's already waiting for you. Source energy never stops calling you toward well-being, never stops offering you the vibration of everything you've asked for, never stops focusing undivided attention on you as the whole magnificent being you actually are. When you feel bad, you've just temporarily lost your connection to that stream. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't failed. You've just practiced thoughts that don't match what Source knows about you. The way back isn't complicated. Feel bad, reach for better. Feel bad, reach for better. Keep reaching until you feel the relief of alignment, until you feel the ease of allowing, until you feel the freedom of remembering that your only job is to feel as good as you can feel right now with whatever you have access to right now. That's it. That's the whole teaching. Everything else is just different ways of saying the same thing. Feel bad, reach for better. Let your emotions guide you. Trust that well-being is your natural state. Know that what you've asked for is already yours vibrationally. Stop arguing with what is long enough to let what's coming arrive. Stop defending your current circumstances long enough to allow different circumstances to form. Stop telling the old story long enough to let the new story begin. You have access to everything you've ever wanted. It's already done. It's already formed. It's already waiting in vibrational escrow. The only thing between you and it is the thoughts you keep thinking that don't match it. Change the thoughts, close the gap, allow the manifestation. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. That's how it will always work. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. You're just pointed in a different direction than where you want to go, and your emotions are telling you that, and you're ignoring them because you think you have good reasons to feel bad. You don't have good reasons to feel bad. You have practiced reasons to feel bad. There's a difference. Let go of the practiced reasons. Reach for better feeling thoughts. Trust your guidance system. Allow what you've asked for to come. That's your work. That's your only work. Everything else takes care of itself.